big up the Chatbout podcast, yeah. Captain Positive are the boss, yeah. Whole heap of things to we chat about. So, grab a chair and hold a seat, yeah. Talk with intelligence. One bag of things to we chat about. Don't talk, don't laugh about now.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Chatbout podcast with me, your host, WG Dessa, aka Captain Positive. And based on the attire and based on what you see happening, today is official. Today, we are going to talk about another passion of mine, another dream of mine that have been realized. Yes, Joyfull Yutes Foundation. See, in these times, it is rare to find people who are as passionate about something that you are. It is rare to find people that have the same ideas that you have. It is rare to find people who wants to walk the walk that you are walking. Like-minded people. People who have the same interests. Let alone find people who you can agree with for more than 2 seconds. But thankfully, I am blessed to have several persons like that, including the co-founder of Joyfull Yutes Foundation, Mr. Sukra. Yes, a friend of mine, a brother of mine, somebody who is as integral in the daily, yearly running of the Joyfull Yutes Foundation, somebody who is as passionate. And it is beautiful to see this happening. Why? Because this dream of ours, this passion of ours, it is not financially rewarding. So Joyfull Yutes Foundation was formed 4 years ago. It is a non-profit organization. And within that non-profit organization, we came up with our first initiative, Bags to the Future. We are here and we are going to get this ball a-rolling. For the second year running, we at Joyfull Yutes Foundation have done our annual Bags to the Future campaign back home in Jamaica. We provided back-to-school supplies for several schools and students in the corporate and rural areas. We could not have done this without the countless friends and family who saw our vision and have supported via sponsorship. Like I tell the previous school, me want to follow the kids them going to high school. Yeah. We don't want to stop here, so. It has nothing to do with where you are financially. You know what I mean? And everything to do with what we want to do collectively. So we see a need, so we are doing our best to fill a need. Thank you all for your time, your supplies, and your financial donations.
We have a chance right now in Jamaica for really turn around and get to the point where we want to get to. I can tell you this, what we're doing here, you have places in the US that's doing the same thing. So don't feel bad if you're here.
We look forward to building and growing with you, our sponsors. Today is the first of many more of this to come. Let's do it again next year and beyond. We appreciate your continued support. Consider them my adopted kids from this point on. We don't want to stop with this morning. We may not know each other personally, but we're going to build that because them are going to change and turn the Jamaica into the Jamaica where we want it to be. So I would like for you to welcome my first interviewee, Mr. Sukra. Respect our manners.
General respect,
yeah,
it done it already.
So, as I was saying, here is Mr. Sukra, the other founding member of Joyfull Yutes Foundation, right? So, a small backstory. We've always had the interest of helping, giving. Like I said earlier, we're like-minded. You know what I mean? We've always heard of, and we're from a similar situation in terms of we're from Jamaica. We're from what is called the garrison, aka the ghetto. So we've always known what it is to go without. You know what I mean? So me and him, we were having a conversation about a sister of mine who is also a part of Joyfull Yutes Foundation. She worked at a basic school and she expressed to me students coming to school with plastic bags for book bags, for what we call back home knapsack bags. They didn't have proper bags to take back to school. They didn't have proper books. They basically were just going to school because they had the uniform, but the other necessities were lacking. And me and him always had the thought or the plan or the idea, the wish, the want to do something like this. We just didn't know where to start. So from that conversation with Natalie, hi Natalie, Joyfull Yutes Foundation was formed. So I am going to let Mr. Sukra introduce himself, and then we are going to give you basically the rundown of where we started to where we are now and where we would like to be in the future. Mr. Sukra, sir.
Yeah, so as Mario said, we've always had that passion of wanting to help others. I think the joy that we see, and again, we could never name this anything else than Joyfull Yutes. Because I remember on one of our the first year we did this program, we went to a school, St. Francis in Kingston, and we saw a child who was not part of the process of getting a bag, but she did, however, we had some bags left, we gave it to her, and there was just the immense joy that was on her face at that particular time of receiving that bag, going home, she was skipping, and we saw it, and I actually took a picture from the car going back to the other school that we were supposed to go to, and just seeing that actual joy on that child's face of receiving that bag and understanding that, you know what, this child on September morning when school starts will have supreme confidence knowing that she has the tools that she needs to go to school. And that moment kind of said, hey, listen, cemented it for me. And I said to Mario, we have to do this every year. Even if we're not impacting all the kids we did before, but every year we should be able to do that where and this is my selfish part of this thing, it's just to seeing that unbridled joy in these kids, knowing that, hey, listen, these things are coming and they're going to be good for school in September.
Let me add to what Sukra just said, because Sukra gave you the abridged version. We went to St. Francis Primary in Crossroads, right? So that first year we had a specific number of students that we wanted to aid. What that same girl is talking about, her sister attended the school, she didn't. So we saw her crying, and I went to her mother, asked, why is your daughter crying? Mother said she didn't get a bag. My question was, why didn't she get a bag? And her mother is such a beautiful soul. Her mother said she doesn't attend the school, so I am not going to impose on somebody who is supposed to get, and so I was like, but you should have said something. Anyway, she said, well, sir, you see the situation. So we gave her a bag, right? So she and her sister was both there laughing, happy, joyful. I was somewhere else having a totally different conversation because our job is finished. I was speaking to a parent, I believe. Then I felt the softest, sweetest hug on my right leg. She was so tiny, she could make it be on my leg. And when I turned around and looked down and saw her, just like he said, it was at that moment, us simultaneously decided that no matter the cost, no matter the time, no matter what is happening in our lives, our goal is to spread joy to those kids. Give them an opportunity to go to school with supreme confidence, knowing that the basic necessities that they need to thrive, to begin to get ahead, is at their request. So we started 4 years ago. This year is our 4th year. What do you see us doing in the future?
Man, listen, I think we're going past just the immediate. We need to talk about immediate. The future, we're going to need 3 or 4 more podcasts to talk about the future, because we're talking about different countries. We're talking about every parish. We're talking about as much schools as possible. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is, because I remember going to school, and I know that on September morning, my mom did the best that she could to get me everything that she needed. Now we've gone through 2 years of what would be considered pandemic, which is going to affect a lot of these parents economically. So, even to say that, during the pandemic, we were in Jamaica, wearing masks, giving out bags, and making sure that, you know what, even if they're not going to school and they need something, a pencil to write while they're at home, they had it. So, again, to go back to what you're saying about the future, what I've envisioned for us is multiple countries, multiple ethnicities, because we have to understand a more educated world means better decision-making people in the future. And if we can have other people making better decisions for a planet, we're talking about a better planet.
Let's start with the kids. Let's make an impact on them. Let's change how they think, and let's see them change the world, because all of us have something that we would want to see change in the world, but some of us are doing nothing about it. Me and my brother here decided that, you know what? Let's start small. Let's start young. Let's start at the basic school level and grow. We started at 2 basic/primary schools. What most people don't know is we've had a few students from high school or alma mater, Jamaica College, but we have not gone fully across all educational levels yet. My question to you is, you mentioned a scholarship in your mother's name.
Yes, that's so my intention in the next 2 years is to continually find students who really need the help, because I know a lot of times, and wish is going to be easy, but also we want to kind of focus our lens on somebody that needs the help but will also use the help to the highest of his or her potential, so we can also provide them with that boost that they need.
So what would the scholarship entail?
So again, I'm trying to figure out a dollar amount that will really substantially help a child. But it will entail on a yearly basis. What we'd want to do is that particular child, or maybe 4 or 5 of them, come and we have a process that we do to vet for them to go through. Okay, cool. You're doing great in school. You might need to have some community, community engagement part of that. Are you helping in the community? And are you, in a sport or something like that will kind of give you something more than just education, because we want to have that candidate be as rounded as possible. So
basically, you want that person to be able to reach others outside the classroom.
Exactly.
Some, like a 4-H club, some social club where that person has an impact outside the classroom.
Because just like what we're trying to do, my vision for us is that if we have, we continue this for the next 10 years, then we'll have graduated at least one class of people who have become adults, and that group of adults will want to be a part of this process and still have that passion for the community to want to help the community.
See, so just now, him explain one of our future plans to nurture this group that 10, 15 years down the line, they will be sitting here in our shoes. We'll have a chapter in Jamaica. We'll have a chapter in Nicaragua. We'll have a chapter in Sudan, Congo, Ghana, St. Lucia, Antigua. Wherever there's a need, Joyful Youths want to fill that need. There's also other members of us. There's Mrs. Nicole Brooks. There's Marlon Pinnock. There's Conroy Leslie. There's Diana Harris. So there's a few of us. And we want, and Mrs. Natalie Neal, and we want to grow. But what we don't want is, we don't want people who are part-time. We want full-time, not part-time, because this for us is lifelong. We've lost friends over this.
Yep. And family members who think you should be bringing stuff for them. But that's a whole nother story. But this is passionate, and I hope it comes across, Mr. Chatbout himself is very passionate about anything that he's involved with. He knows me. I'm not somebody who's a big people person, but this for me is huge, and I will do anything to make sure that this get to the next level that we need to get it to.
It is such an odd thing to see him communicate with others, because as big as him be, he's very antisocial, and him can't hide. Him stand out in every crowd, but him not like people. But him love kids. Him will go above and beyond for anybody's kid. Your kid, his kid, anybody's kid. So, from where we are now, this is our 4th year. Mm-hmm. How many schools have we impacted?
So we got to understand that, so for example, if we went to a particular school and that child's brother and sister is there, they're not going to that same school. So at this point, I would say we probably reach about a dozen, to be honest.
With 3 years under our belt. This is our 4th year. So and after this year, it is going to be about 18 schools.
Yeah.
In 4 years. No, this is simply because we have a goal. We have a dream. And it is not going to be deterred by stipulations of government, stipulations of travel, because no matter what the situation is, we are going to overcome it. You know why? Because there's a child, there's a parent, there's somebody who knows about us, who is sitting, and when I say sitting and waiting, don't think that these people have nothing better to do, you know. These are people who genuinely need our help. These are people who genuinely don't have an out, don't have another, because you know what the situation is. What I would want you to do is, if you know a school in your community, in your surrounding, in your area that...
Or a child.
Exactly.
That they can assist to the fullest and needs our assistance, we'll definitely...
We'll reach out to us. You can find us on IG, or you can email us at joyfullyutesfoundation@gmail.com. We are accessible people, and we shun nobody away. Like he said, all you have to do is be genuine, be sincere, and be serious. And we will come. We will help. We will provide. Another thing that we spoke about that we want to do eventually is to own a school.
Yes, that is a major goal of mine, because one of the things that I realize when we go to a lot of these schools, and they're trying to do the best that they can, but at the end of the day, are they getting them ready for the next jobs that are coming out? And that's big, because, you know, especially in Jamaica, we're a small island, we're close to the US, we speak English well. There's a lot of jobs that we can get our kids ready for that's going to come in the future. Major in the STEM field that has surrounding science and technology. And if we're able to get them ready for those particular jobs, that's what we need to do. Because again, if we have a country that has people who are economically set, we will see an impact on the crime rate.
Speak on our plans to mentor kids as well.
Oh man, listen. This is one of the other key things we need help with. We need people who have established themselves, even if you're not the best in your field, if you're not the greatest person at that particular job. We need to introduce kids to different areas, and a mentor will help them to shorten the gap between where they're going. I myself have, until I got to an adult, then I actually understood the power of having a mentor, and those people assist in getting me to points that I needed to get to without having to go through all the bruises that comes with that. So I think we need help with that.
I told you all before that another goal of mine is to start mentoring. You think I'm playing? Mr. Positive, Mr. Captain Positive, don't set goals and don't go for them. All right, so schools, scholarships, mentorship, right? And global domination. These are just some of the things that we are going to do. Not want to do, going to do. We've already carved out a niche in Jamaica that is growing every year. It expands by 2 to 3 schools every year. And I'm simply saying, if you would like to help, and by help I mean in any facet, by mentoring, by helping us, giving out these supplies, whatever it is that you can do within your powers to help, contact us. We are not too big to ask for help, because we too need help, because every year it gets big, and we started with 2 schools. Now we're up to 12, going on to 18 at the end of this year. So if there's anything, any area, any school, any child, anywhere, or at what point you think we'll get to like high schools?
I think what I want, and then, as we had said originally when we started, was that if we have these kids that are currently, children that are currently in these basic school and primary schools, we want to be able to follow them. So maybe not every year we give them a bag. Maybe the following year we're just supplying them with books for that next year coming. And once that group gets into high school, what I'd really love to do is to have some of them come back, be a part of the program, assist us in actually maybe even just handing out the bags, and even from a high school or maybe a mentor in a basic school or primary school, getting them ready for the next level.
So we want this to be a revolving door. We want to plant the seed and watch these seeds grow into blossoming trees that bear fruit, that start at basic school and turn around back and go back to that same school that they began at and help these kids. So our goal is to grow with each of our kids, with each child that we sponsor, especially the ones that are standing out academically and the ones that have spread their wings in their community, the ones that are doing outreach programs, the ones that are heavily involved, we want to help them along the way. So this is where the scholarship comes in. It will grow with them. It will help them from basic school, primary school, high school, and they will turn around, hopefully, and want to repay that to some child. So we are here not only to do for you, but to ask you to do for them. Romark, Joyfull Yutes, aka Captain Positive, we are simply saying thank you to those who have been a part of this journey with us. There have been many sponsors, numerous sponsors. Uncle Pilly, a sponsor. Yeah, I can't stop big up Uncle Pilly, you know, and I got tired for the name there, you know. Yeah, man, so there have been many sponsors over the years, and we want to say thank you to every single solitary one, because we had the thought, we had the idea, but you guys, you wonderful, strong, kind, giving, caring, loving people are one of the many, many backbones, one of the many pillars that is the Joyfull Yutes Foundation. You know what I mean? Especially the ones who are annual sponsors. Thank you
very much. Yep.
Yeah, man. May your pots never be empty.
So you can share some more.
There you go. And the ones who would like to be new sponsors, may your pots begin to get fuller. You understand? But from us to you, this is what we do. So we want you to know that not all dreams are financially driven and motivated. Some dreams are just to give. And we love giving. There's a joy that is returned to you from giving that no amount of money can repay that joy. As he said, and I reiterated that hug from my dear friend on this right leg of mine. For months, I didn't want anybody to touch my right leg. Yes, for months, because this beautiful little angel was so grateful and happy. And I saw the genuine gratefulness in her smile and that hug and that thank you, sir. You know, long somebody not call me sir. But it is a joy and a pleasure to do what we do. And from me, Captain Positive, to you and my brother, Romark Sukra, thank you and see you again and again and again and again. Joyfull Yutes Foundation signing out. But don't forget, we still make positivity the new disease.
This is the Chatbout podcast. We there first, them there last. Everything I figure I fi broadcast. Podcast. Chatbout. Chatbout podcast. Hey, WG Dessa, aka Captain.